So it was just a few years ago. I walked into a friend of mine's office, and he had books stacked up on his desk. It was somewhat cluttered, and he instantly began to apologize and said, "I think I'm a frustrated perfectionist," and that really stuck with me. He said, basically, I know where I need to be with organization, but I just can't get there, and so no need to try. And and obviously I remember it to this day, and I'm just not for sure if if it was a cop out or it's a legitimate thing. But having said that, I run into a lot of people over the years that have played me unfinished music, songs that they've been working on, projects they've been working on, and this has been an ongoing thing for several years, and they're still unfinished. And I kind of get it. Once you step across that line and you introduce that song to the public, it's you've committed yourself to it. And I think there's just this fear of frustrated perfection, if you will. I want it to be perfect, and I'm frustrated that it's not, so I'm just not going to put anything out. I guess when I was younger, I didn't really think about that. I just put material out. I went into budget studios and hired some musicians that were friends of mine and guys that I played with, and I began to record and get stuff out there. I look back now and I go, I could have played that different, could have approached this different, could have had different tones. But what was important, I think, was that I got my stuff out there, and I still get positive feedback, and obviously I'm still recording, and I put things out. And since I started doing my own production, a lot of I've noticed that it's harder because I'm thinking, well, I know how to play. I know how to play the right notes and my arrangements, but the bringing it to that quality that it needs to be, you get 35. You burn 35 CDs. I remember one time I burnt 32 CDs going to my car to get it to sound right. And at some point you just say, well, am I going to shelf this, or am I going to put it out there? And so you have to come to a point to where you say, you know what? This is what it is. There's some good ideas. This is my voice. This is who I am. And that's kind of what I do. And I'm sure there's ways I could improve what I do. But here's the thing. You have a voice. Everybody speaks different. Everybody has different musical ideas. But it's so important, I think, that it's so easy now to get stuff out there. You can sit down and have something up on YouTube in a matter of a few minutes. You can release a project and have it out on iTunes within a matter of a week. So, but it doesn't get out there if it doesn't get finished. And one of my favorite guitar players, Eric Johnson, I remember reading, I don't remember which project it was, but he's looking like 6 or 7 years to finish, and he looks back and he really camped out on things that he didn't need to camp out on. He was a frustrated perfectionist, if you will. And obviously it was a great project, but he looked and said, I just overthought the whole process. And every little thing had to be perfect. And so I want to challenge somebody that maybe is there. You've got stuff in the pipeline, that you pull out and work on, and you think, man, I just don't know, because like I said, once you step across that line with it and release it, it's funny. One little story, I was getting ready to do a concert at a church several years ago, and this gentleman called me and said, hey, I wrote this song. Could you listen to it? And he said, really, the reason I want you to listen to it is I want you to learn it, and I want you to sing it at my church when you come. And I said, well, it's your song. You wrote it. And he said, well, I want you to be the one that tests it out to see if people like it. And so it was funny. He was really afraid to commit with his own material, as he wanted me to be the guinea pig. And you know, it's hard. I've written over 100, way over 100 vocal songs, and to get up there and sing them, and you're laying everything out there. You're being very transparent for people to hear your melodies, your words, and so. But having said that, it is rewarding when you see that it gets through to people. And how can people appreciate your music if you don't have it out there? And so I want to challenge somebody. Finish up that songs and get it out there, get it recorded, get something out there. And whether you develop a huge following with it or not, it's rewarding to know that this is something that I did. So if you're a chronic frustrated perfectionist, kind of push that aside for a while and put your music out there, and I will talk to you soon.